Most people think ovulation is just about counting days on a calendar, but your body is far more clever than that. It doesn't tap you on the shoulder or send a notification to your phone, but it does leave subtle signs, little whispers that reveal when you're at your most fertile. These aren't always obvious. Sometimes it's a sudden surge of energy, an unusual craving for intimacy, or even a sharper sense of smell that catches you off guard. Other times, it's a small shift in your body that you might dismiss as random, when in reality, it's your hormones doing their monthly dance. The truth is, ovulation doesn't just happen. It announces itself in hidden ways. The real secret is knowing how to decode the signals your body has been giving you all along. The energy and mood shift. You can't ignore. Imagine waking up one morning feeling different. Lighter, sharper, more alive. You might not be able to put your finger on it, but suddenly the world seems a little brighter. Conversations flow more easily, and your to-do list doesn't feel so heavy anymore. Most people dismiss these changes as just a good day, but in reality, they're one of the most powerful hidden signs of ovulation. What's happening inside your body? As your cycle progresses, estrogen gradually rises, but in the days leading up to ovulation, it peaks. And this is when the magic happens. Estrogen isn't just about preparing your ovaries. It directly influences your brain chemistry. Higher estrogen levels boost dopamine, your motivation hormone, and serotonin, your happiness hormone. Together, they act like a natural mood elevator and energy enhancer, making you feel unstoppable. You may notice a sudden drive to get things done, whether that's tackling projects, organizing your home, or planning ahead. Increased focus and clarity. Tasks that once felt overwhelming suddenly seem manageable. A happier outlook. Things that might normally stress you out don't feel as heavy. This isn't wishful thinking. It's biology working in your favor. The confidence glow. Many women describe feeling more confident and attractive during this time, and science backs this up. Research shows that during ovulation, subtle changes occur in your body. Your skin may appear clearer, your eyes slightly brighter, and your natural scent more appealing to others. You might even notice yourself reaching for outfits that make you feel bold, experimenting with your makeup, or simply carrying yourself with more assurance. Think of it as your body's way of turning up the volume on your presence. Even without realizing it, you're more magnetic to those around you. And it's not just physical. Your confidence in social settings often increases too. Suddenly, networking, flirting, or even speaking up in a meeting feels easier and more natural. I'm Hashush. Why it matters. This surge of energy and mood isn't random. It's your body's evolutionary way of ensuring that you feel your best during your fertile window, the days when conception is most likely. By making you more outgoing, motivated, and confident, your hormones are essentially guiding you toward connection and opportunity, whether or not you're consciously thinking about fertility. If you're trying to conceive, recognizing this energy spike can help you identify your most fertile days. But even if you're not, it's valuable knowledge. Imagine scheduling important meetings, creative projects, or social events during this window. You'd be working with your body's natural rhythm instead of against it. How to spot it in your own life. Track your cycle and see if you notice a pattern of increased energy mid-cycle. Journal your mood and productivity levels each day. You'll often see a clear rise around ovulation. Notice when you naturally feel more social or confident. It may align with your fertile window. The takeaway. Your body is far from silent. That burst of motivation, that sudden desire to organize your space, or that unexpected confidence in a social setting isn't random. It's a whisper from your hormones, pointing to ovulation. Once you start connecting the dots, you'll realize your cycle isn't just about periods. It's about powerful rhythms that shape how you feel every single day. So the next time you feel unstoppable, radiant, and more alive than usual, don't brush it off. Your body might be telling you you're ovulating. Heightened senses. When the world feels sharper. Most people think ovulation is just about what happens inside the ovaries, but if you pay close attention, you'll notice it affects how you experience the world. Around your fertile window, your body doesn't just prepare an egg. It tunes your senses, as if someone quietly adjusted the dial and made everything sharper, clearer, and more intense. It's easy to dismiss these changes as random quirks, a perfume that suddenly smells too strong, food that tastes unusually rich, or a sudden sensitivity to sound and touch. But these are not coincidences. They are hidden signs that your body is entering ovulation. The science of sharpened senses. As your body approaches ovulation, two major hormones, estrogen and luteinizing hormone, LH, rise dramatically. While their main role is to trigger the release of an egg, they also influence the nervous system and parts of the brain responsible for sensory perception. Here's what often happens. Smell becomes more powerful. Research has shown that women in their fertile window are more sensitive to subtle scents, especially pheromones, natural chemical signals emitted by other people. This heightened sense of smell may subconsciously play a role in attraction. Even everyday scents like coffee, flowers, or spices can feel stronger and more vivid. Taste sharpens. Food can feel more flavorful, and cravings often shift. Some women notice they prefer lighter, fresher foods, like fruits and salads, over heavy comfort meals. It's as if the body craves energy sources that will make them feel light and active. Touch intensifies. Nerve endings in the skin may become more sensitive, making physical contact feel more noticeable. This can translate to more enjoyment in intimacy, but it also shows up in small ways, like how fabric feels against your skin, or how quickly you notice a breeze on your arm. Hearing and visual awareness increase. Though less studied, many report feeling more alert to noises, details, and surroundings, a subtle heightening of vigilance. In evolutionary terms, these changes make sense. If reproduction is most likely to happen now, the body wants you more alert, more receptive, and more responsive. Real-life examples you might notice. That perfume or cologne you normally enjoy suddenly feels overwhelming or lingers in your nose longer than usual. A simple meal, like a salad or piece of fruit, feels more delicious and satisfying than it normally does. You might suddenly dislike strong odors you normally tolerate, like smoke, gasoline, or fried food. Physical closeness feels different. You may feel more affectionate, more sensitive to touch, or even more easily startled by sensations. You may find yourself noticing details you normally overlook, such as background sounds, faint scents, or subtle changes in someone's tone of voice. Why it matters. If you're trying to conceive, being aware of these sensory changes can help you identify your fertile window, even without using ovulation kits or apps. But even if you're not focused on fertility, this awareness can make your cycle feel less mysterious. Suddenly, what you thought was random sensitivity has a clear explanation. It also empowers you to work with your cycle instead of against it. For example, if you're extra sensitive to smell, you might avoid heavy perfumes or crowded spaces. If food tastes more appealing, you could use this time to enjoy healthy meals that feel especially satisfying. If touch feels more heightened, you might lean into connection and intimacy. The takeaway. Ovulation isn't silent, it speaks through your senses. When the world feels sharper, tastes richer, and sensations more vivid, it's not a coincidence. It's your hormones whispering that you're in your fertile window. So the next time you wrinkle your nose at a perfume, find yourself savoring fruit as if it's the best thing you've ever eaten, or notice that even the brush of fabric feels different. Remember, your body is sending you one of its most fascinating hidden signals. It's not just your imagination, it's ovulation. The discharge shift you might miss. For most of us, discharge is something we notice only in passing, an everyday part of being human that doesn't always get much thought. But hidden inside those quiet changes is one of the body's most reliable ovulation signals. Your cervical mucus is like your body's secret language, whispering where you are in your cycle and whether fertility is at its peak. The challenge? Most people were never taught to read this language. It feels like an afterthought, something unimportant. Yet, if you know what to look for, cervical mucus becomes one of the clearest clues that ovulation is around the corner. The science behind the shift. Throughout your cycle, your cervix doesn't behave the same way every day. It responds directly to hormonal changes. Estrogen in particular is the hormone conductor here. Right after your period, the cervix is quieter, producing little mucus. You may feel dry or notice very little when you wipe. As estrogen begins to rise, the cervix produces more mucus, which looks cloudy, sticky, or creamy, like lotion. This is your body warming up. Just before ovulation, Estrogen peaks, and suddenly your mucus transforms into a slippery, stretchy, almost clear consistency. This egg-white texture isn't random. It's biology at its finest, designed to help sperm survive longer and swim more easily toward the egg. After ovulation, progesterone takes over, making the mucus thick and tacky again, creating a natural barrier until the next cycle begins. This shifting texture is your body's real-time fertility forecast. Apps can predict, tests can measure, but your cervical mucus shows you what's happening in the moment. Why it's easy to miss, here's the thing. Unless you're actively looking, these changes can be so subtle, they slip by unnoticed. Maybe you just feel a little more damp than usual, or you spot something different on your underwear and don't give it a second thought. But once you start observing carefully, you'll notice a rhythm every month. Dry, creamy, slippery, then back again. Many women who begin tracking are surprised by how consistent this pattern is. It's just been hiding in plain sight. Think of it this way. Your body is leaving breadcrumbs, and your discharge is one of the clearest trails pointing to ovulation. Why this matters more than you think. For those trying to conceive, this shift in discharge can be more valuable than any calendar or app. Why? Because it doesn't just estimate when you should be fertile, it shows when you are fertile. Sperm can survive up to 5 days in fertile mucus, which means paying attention to this window can dramatically improve the chances of conception. But even if pregnancy isn't your focus, understanding your discharge can help you predict your cycle more accurately, give you insight into your hormonal health. For example, if you never see fertile mucus, it could signal low estrogen or thyroid issues worth discussing with a doctor. Empower you to trust your body's rhythm instead of feeling like it's a mystery. How to track without stress. You don't need fancy tools, just awareness. Check when you wipe. Notice if it feels dry, sticky, creamy, or slippery. Try the stretch test. Touch a little between your fingers. If it stretches like egg whites without breaking, you're in your fertile window. Record patterns. Jot down daily notes in a journal or fertility app. Over time, you'll see your body's rhythm unfold like clockwork. Reframing the stigma. Here's something powerful to remember. Discharge isn't dirty, inconvenient, or embarrassing. It's intelligent. It's your body working at its finest, shaping the environment for life to happen. By learning to pay attention to it, you reclaim knowledge about yourself that many women were never taught. The takeaway. Your discharge is far more than an afterthought. That quiet shift from sticky to creamy to slippery is a coded message. Your fertile window is here. So next time you notice your body feels more damp than usual, or you spot that telltale stretch between your fingers, pause before brushing it off. That's not just your body doing its thing. It's one of the clearest whispers of ovulation you'll ever get. The secret has been there all along. You just had to learn how to listen. The pelvic twinge you weren't expecting. Most of the time, ovulation is invisible. Hormones quietly shift, eggs mature, and your body does its work without you ever noticing. But for some women, ovulation makes itself felt in a very physical way. A small but distinct ache in the lower belly, often on just one side. This sensation is called Mittelschmerz, a German word that translates to middle pain, because it typically happens in the middle of your cycle. Though it's not universal, those who feel it often describe it as one of the clearest live signals that ovulation is happening. The biology behind the twinge. Here's what's happening under the surface. Inside your ovary, a follicle has been growing and maturing an egg for nearly 2 weeks. As it reaches maturity, the follicle swells, stretching the outer wall of the ovary. When ovulation occurs, the follicle bursts, releasing the egg. Along with it comes a small amount of fluid, and sometimes blood, which can irritate nearby tissue. This irritation is what creates the ache, pinch, or pressure known as Mittelschmerz. In other words, you're literally feeling the mechanics of ovulation. It's one of the few times in your cycle when you can directly sense your reproductive system in action. How it feels. Mittelschmerz isn't the same for everyone, but common descriptions include a sharp, stabbing pain that lasts for a few seconds or minutes, a dull, nagging ache that lingers for hours, a feeling of heaviness or fullness in the lower belly, mild cramping that's distinct from period cramps, usually more localized to one side, For some, it's so subtle they might mistake it for mild gas or muscle strain. For others, it's noticeable enough that they pause mid-task and think, "What was that?" It usually switches sides from month to month since the ovaries take turns releasing eggs. If you track it for a few cycles, you might even begin to predict which ovary will be active next. Why is it easy to overlook? Because the sensation is fleeting and mild for most, it often gets dismissed. Some women don't notice it at all until they start paying attention to their cycles. Others may confuse it with digestive discomfort or general abdominal pain, but when paired with other signs, like fertile discharge or a sudden boost in energy, it becomes much easier to recognize it for what it is, a physical marker of ovulation. Why it matters. Mittelschmerz is more than just a curiosity. It's one of the most accurate, real-time indicators of ovulation your body can give. Unlike period tracking apps, which estimate fertile days based on averages, this sensation is direct feedback from your ovaries. For women trying to conceive, this can be an incredibly useful signal, narrowing the fertility window to just a few days. For those avoiding pregnancy or simply wanting to understand their bodies better, it provides a fascinating confirmation of cycle timing. Practical tips for tracking it. Keep a cycle journal. Jot down any mid-cycle pains, noting which side they're on and how long they last. Pair it with other signs. Look for fertile cervical mucus or a spike in energy to confirm ovulation. Notice the pattern. Does it always happen around the same cycle day? Does it alternate sides? Over time, you'll build a clearer picture of your ovulation rhythm. When to check with a doctor. While mild ovulation pain is normal, severe or persistent pain isn't. If your ovulation cramps leave you doubled over, interfere with daily life, or are accompanied by other symptoms, like heavy bleeding, fever, or nausea, it's important to rule out conditions such as ovarian cysts, fibroids, or endometriosis. The takeaway. Mittelschmerz is one of the rare times your body doesn't just hint at ovulation. It shows it to you directly. That fleeting ache isn't a random quirk. It's a sign of your ovaries doing exactly what they were designed to do. So the next time you stop midday, hand on your belly, wondering about that sudden pinch, consider this. It's not your body complaining. It's your body quietly celebrating. The egg has been released. The libido spike you didn't see coming. When people think about ovulation signs, they imagine charts, apps, or thermometer readings. What they don't always expect is that their body might whisper the answer through desire. Yes, your hormones don't just change your discharge or your basal body temperature. They change the way you feel. And one of the most overlooked but powerful indicators that ovulation is near is a sudden, often surprising increase in libido. This isn't coincidence, and it isn't all in your head. It's your body's ancient biological intelligence at work. Why your desire rises mid-cycle. Around the middle of your cycle, roughly days 12 to 16 for many women, your hormones go through a carefully timed surge. Here's the breakdown. Estrogen hits its peak. This hormone boosts energy, sharpens your senses, and increases vaginal lubrication, all of which make intimacy more appealing. Testosterone gets a lift. Though usually thought of as a male hormone, testosterone plays a crucial role in female sexual desire. Around ovulation, your levels rise just enough to heighten your interest and sensitivity. Progesterone is still low. This hormone dominates after ovulation and tends to calm libido. Its temporary absence means your sex drive can shine brighter in these fertile days. The result? A hormonal cocktail that encourages connection, attraction, and closeness, exactly when your chances of conception are highest. This isn't random chemistry. It's evolution's way of giving you a subtle nudge. Now is the time. What it looks like in everyday life. The libido spike doesn't always look like textbook passion. Sometimes it's loud, obvious, and undeniable. Other times, it's quiet, sneaky, and surprising. Women report a wide variety of experiences, such as a stronger craving for intimacy. Suddenly, cuddling feels more appealing, or you catch yourself initiating closeness you normally wouldn't. Heightened attraction. Partners may seem more magnetic, their voices warmer, their scent more intoxicating. Playful energy. Flirting feels easier, laughter flows more, and conversations carry a spark. Unconscious shifts. You may notice yourself putting more effort into your appearance without even realizing why. Choosing a bolder lipstick, slipping into that dress you love, or standing taller in your favorite heels. Vivid dreams. Some women report mid-cycle dreams that are sensual or emotionally charged, often much more memorable than during other phases. None of these are accidents. Your brain and body are aligning to make intimacy more likely. The confidence connection. Here's where it gets even more fascinating. The libido surge is rarely just about sex drive. It often comes with a natural confidence boost. Estrogen at its peak enhances not just fertility, but also mood, cognition, and self-perception. Studies suggest women may feel more attractive around ovulation, and even be perceived that way by others. Skin glows a little brighter, voice pitch subtly shifts, and body language naturally becomes more open. You might catch yourself lingering in front of the mirror, feeling good in your skin. Or you might notice strangers making eye contact a little longer than usual. Whether you're consciously aware of it or not, you're projecting vitality. And the world responds. The evolutionary logic. From a purely biological standpoint, this makes perfect sense. Ovulation represents the small window when conception is possible. Nature designed the body to subtly encourage intimacy during this time, both through internal desire and external cues. In the animal kingdom, this phenomenon is blatant. Some species have visible signals during fertility. Humans, however, rely on subtler cues, a boost in libido, a touch more confidence, and shifts in scent and behavior that others may unconsciously pick up on. It's biology's quiet way of stacking the odds in favor of reproduction. Why it's useful to notice. Understanding this libido spike can be valuable for many reasons. For conception, it helps you recognize your most fertile days without relying solely on apps or tests. For cycle awareness, it deepens your connection with your body, showing you how your mood and energy are influenced by hormonal shifts. For relationships, knowing your mid-cycle surge can be a great time to plan intimacy, dates, or even important conversations, when your confidence and openness are naturally higher. For self-discovery, recognizing when your body feels most magnetic helps you work with, not against, your natural rhythms. When it's not as obvious, not every woman notices this sign. Stress, lack of sleep, certain medications like hormonal birth control, or underlying hormonal imbalances can dull or mask the mid-cycle libido surge. That doesn't mean ovulation isn't happening. It just means the signal isn't shining through as strongly. And for some, libido may rise in a gentler, more emotional way, craving connection, closeness, or affection, rather than physical intimacy. Both are valid forms of this sign. The takeaway. The ovulation libido spike isn't just a quirk of hormones. It's one of the body's clearest signals that your fertile window is open. When you suddenly feel more connected, more confident, and more magnetic, it isn't random. It's your biology speaking in its most primal language. So the next time you feel that unexpected wave of desire or a deeper pull toward intimacy, pause for a moment. That surge isn't just hormones acting up. It's your body's way of saying, you're ovulating. The emotional shifts you can't quite explain. Not every sign of ovulation is visible in the mirror or felt in the body. Some of the most telling changes happen quietly in your emotions, your thoughts, and even in the way you experience the world. These are the signals most people overlook, the inner whispers that reveal just as much as physical symptoms. If you've ever found yourself suddenly more intuitive, unusually sensitive, or emotionally heightened around mid-cycle, you may have dismissed it as just hormones. But the truth is, these emotional shifts are not random. They are part of your body's intricate system of announcing that you're ovulating. Tasher, the hormone-emotion connection. At the center of these shifts lies estrogen, the dominant hormone of the first half of your cycle. Just before ovulation, estrogen peaks, flooding your brain with powerful effects. This hormone interacts with neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which are linked to mood, creativity, and motivation. The result? Your emotional world feels amplified, more vivid, more alive. Meanwhile, testosterone, a hormone often overlooked in women, rises slightly as well, adding confidence, boldness, and even sharper focus. Together, these hormonal changes create a fertile ground for heightened emotions and intuition. This isn't a coincidence. It's your biology fine-tuning your brain and body for connection, bonding, and decision-making, key factors in reproduction and survival. How emotional shifts show up in real life. The ways these changes appear can be subtle, but when you know what to look for, the patterns become clear. a stronger gut feeling. You might notice an uncanny ability to read people or sense when something is off. During ovulation, many women report feeling more intuitive and attuned to subtle cues. A craving for closeness. Whether with a partner, family, or friends, your need for emotional intimacy can grow stronger. Simple conversations feel deeper, and you may feel more affectionate than usual. Heightened vulnerability. Tears may come more easily, not always from sadness, but from a deeper openness to life's experiences. Music, movies, even small gestures might move you. The creative spark. Many find this is the time ideas flow more easily. Writing, painting, problem solving, or even daydreaming feels richer and more inspired. Emotional highs and lows. While some women feel energized and joyful, others experience irritability, restlessness, or sensitivity. It's not good or bad, just different shades of how hormones influence the brain. The ancient logic behind sensitivity. It may seem puzzling. Why would ovulation make you more emotional? The answer is evolutionary wisdom. In our ancestors' world, being fertile wasn't just about physical readiness. It required social and emotional awareness. Heightened sensitivity would have helped women evaluate potential partners, strengthen bonds with allies, and stay alert to social dynamics that ensured safety for themselves and future children. In other words, your emotions during ovulation aren't weaknesses. They're survival tools refined by thousands of years of human history. When emotional shifts feel intense. For some, the emotional changes during ovulation are subtle. For others, they can feel overwhelming. Factors like stress, lack of sleep, or hormonal imbalances, such as PCOS or thyroid issues, can amplify the intensity. Instead of fighting these feelings, it helps to work with them. Journaling can turn scattered emotions into clarity. Gentle exercise like yoga or walking can stabilize mood while honoring sensitivity. Mindfulness practices, breathing, meditation, or simply sitting in quiet help ground your heightened awareness. Creative outlets channel emotional energy into expression rather than frustration. When understood, these emotional waves become less of a storm and more of a tide, something you can ride rather than resist. Why recognizing this matters? By paying attention to your emotional shifts, you gain more than insight into fertility. You gain self-awareness. You begin to notice patterns that explain why you suddenly feel more open, more creative, or more sensitive at certain times of the month. This knowledge can help you plan activities that align with your natural emotional strengths. Deepen your relationships by understanding your need for connection during fertile days. Offer compassion to yourself when moods fluctuate. Instead of brushing emotions off as random or dramatic, you begin to see them as signposts of a perfectly orchestrated cycle. The takeaway. Ovulation doesn't always shout its presence with cramps, discharge changes, or physical symptoms. Sometimes it speaks in whispers, through intuition, tenderness, and unexpected waves of feeling. These shifts remind you that your body and mind are deeply interconnected, both working together in the rhythm of fertility. So the next time you feel unusually sensitive, deeply connected, or even emotionally restless, pause before you dismiss it. It may not be just hormones. It may be your body's most subtle, most human way of saying, you are ovulating. Learning to hear what your body is telling you. We live in a world where we often rely on apps, trackers, or strict calendars to tell us what's happening inside our bodies. And while technology has its place, the truth is that your body already has a built-in language, an ancient biological rhythm that doesn't need an app to validate it. The trick is learning how to listen. The hidden signs of ovulation, whether it's the sudden lift in your mood, the sharpening of your senses, the changes in your cervical mucus, the mid-cycle twinge in your abdomen, or even the subtle emotional shifts, are not random coincidences. They are part of a finely tuned system that has evolved over thousands of years to guide you, protect you, and connect you to your own fertility. When you begin to recognize these signals, you stop second-guessing yourself. You stop wondering if your cycle is a mystery that only doctors or apps can decode. Instead, you reclaim a kind of confidence, an awareness that your body is not working against you, but with you. Each change, each whisper, each clue is your body's way of saying, here I am. This is your fertile window. For some, this knowledge can be the key to conception, helping to better understand when the body is most receptive. For others, it's simply about empowerment, feeling in tune with yourself, honoring your natural rhythm, and moving through your month with a sense of alignment instead of confusion. And perhaps most importantly, learning to listen to your body's ovulation signals can help you cultivate a deeper respect for yourself. Too often, we dismiss our feelings, ignore our symptoms, or chalk up our instincts to just hormones. But in reality, these are not inconveniences. They are signposts, guiding you toward a better understanding of your health, your cycle, and your power. So, the next time you feel that unexpected surge of energy, notice your heightened awareness or sense emotions bubbling closer to the surface. Pause for a moment. Instead of brushing it off, lean in. Your body is speaking to you in its own language, offering a message that is both subtle and profound. Your body never stays silent. Every shift, every change, every whisper is a message. Learn to listen, and you'll never have to wonder if you're ovulating. You'll simply know.